Estate Civic Club for 3 years, awarded Order of the Palmetto for interest and friendship to the state of South Carolina, awarded Damali Legion of Honor by International Supreme Council for Order of Damali, award for community service by National Veterans of Foreign Wars, certificate of appreciation by the American Legion Palmetto Post number 112, American Legion member, South Carolina State PTA officer, chairman of Charleston County School Board, chairman of South Carolina Federal Credit Union, commission for the City of North Charleston Housing Authority, federal employee for 37 years, and federal employee of the year 1977, presented by Federal Executive Association. And whereas Mr. Thompson spent many years serving his country and his community in addition to supporting a wife and 4 children. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, R. Keith Summy, Mayor of the City of North Charleston, do hereby proclaim November 14th, 2019 as Mr. Keith M. Thompson Senior Day.
And he still had time to have a good time. I mean, Keith was a very unique individual. One of the things always ticked me off, he looked so young all the time. You know, he never aged. And he was so heavily engaged in all of these activities. He loved his community, he loved his city, he loved his family, he just enjoyed serving. And it's a privilege for us to take this time to recognize Keith and his service to the community. And until you sit down sometimes and list things out, you really don't realize how much somebody did to try to make this world we live in a little bit better. So Keith, we know you're watching. And this is with pride that we present this to your family and say to them, God bless you, and follow suit for what Daddy hit the directions for you. Would any of you like to say something?
I'd just like to express our appreciation for recognizing Daddy, for his public service. He loved the city of North Charleston.
Did that.
And he spent his life trying to make it a better place.
He definitely did, and thank you all for following in his shoes, and let's continue to move forward for a great community for everyone. God bless you. Madam Clerk, please continue with the agenda.
The next item on the agenda is the approval of the North Charleston City Council minutes from October 24th, 2019.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Jerome?
Aye.
Ms. Jamison?
Aye.
Mr. Brinson?
Aye.
Ms. Williams? Mr. Hart? Mr. King? Mr. Skipper? Mr. Brown? And Mayor Summy.
Aye.
The next item on the agenda is an ordinance for first reading, rezoning the property addressed as 4275 O'Hare Avenue, identified as Charleston County TMS number 470-16, parcel 80, from R1 Single Family Residential and R2 Multifamily Residential to PD Plan Development, O'Hare Townhomes, and a concurrent amendment to the Comprehensive Plan's future land use map designation for portions of that same parcel, changing from single-family traditional and undesignated former right-of-way to multifamily residential in Council District 7.
Good evening, all. As we've just heard, we have a proposed rezoning at 4275 O'Hare Avenue. The existing zonings are R1 single-family residential and R2 multifamily residential, and the proposal is for planned development, and that is in Council District 7. There you have an aerial view of the property along O'Hare Avenue, and a zoomed-out picture of the neighborhood there in the southeast portion of Park Circle. The proposed rezoning request is to rezone the property from R1 single-family residential and R2 multifamily residential, shown there in the orange and light yellow on the map, to PD Plan Development. And the rezoning would require an amendment to our comprehensive plan, changing the designation from single-family traditional and to multifamily residential. There's a proposed layout of the development associated with the PD. And the subject property is a vacant land that has been recently cleared in anticipation of multifamily development. A large portion of the property was recently rezoned from R1 to R2 to allow multifamily, and now the entire property is proposed to be rezoned to a planned development district called O'Hare Townhomes. The applicant seeks to redevelop the land, which was a mobile home park more than a decade ago, as a 27-unit townhome development and proposes to change some of the ordinance requirements for multifamily development. Some of those variations include reducing the front setback, reducing the rear setback, reducing the minimum lot area, increasing the maximum lot occupancy, reducing the required width for street right-of-ways, and to allow subdivisions off of a 14-foot right-of-way. Based on the variations proposed in the PD, staff had recommended denial, and the Planning Commission's recommending denial.
Any questions by council? Without objection, this is referred to the Public Safety Committee, which meets Tuesday, November the 26th at 5 p.m.
The next item on the agenda is an ordinance for first reading, rezoning the properties addressed as 5833 Althea Avenue and 1918 Robertson Boulevard, identified as Charleston County TMS number 472-4, parcels 132 and 213, from R1 Single Family Residential to R2 Multifamily Residential, and a concurrent amendment to the Comprehensive Plan's future land use map designation for those same parcels, changing from single-family suburban to multifamily residential in Council District 7.
Okay, we have a proposed rezoning at 5833 Althea Avenue and 1918 Robertson Boulevard. It's currently zoned R1 Single Family Residential, and the proposal is to go to R2 Multifamily Residential, and that is in Council District 7. There you have an aerial version of the property there at the intersection of Althea and Robertson Boulevard. And a zoomed out picture of the Oak Grove neighborhood where the property is located. The proposed rezoning is to rezone it from R1 Single Family Residential, shown in the light yellow on the map, to R2 Multifamily Residential. And this would require a map amendment to the comprehensive plan, changing the designation from Single Family Residential to Multifamily Residential. Subject property are small vacant lots located at the corner of Althea Avenue and Robertson Boulevard in the Oak Grove neighborhood, situated between Rivers Avenue remount and the CSX main line. The applicant has requested the properties be rezoned from R1 to R2, which would allow for redevelopment of the property. Neither property meets the minimum lot size requirements in the R2 zone, and there is no existing R2 zoning in the Oak Grove neighborhood, and the nearest R2 zone property is approximately 500 feet away. Comprehensive plan would also need an amendment to support the rezoning. Therefore, based on the lack of comprehensive plan support for the rezoning and the lack of adjacent R2 zone property, staff is recommending denial, and the Planning Commission is also recommending denial.
Any questions by council? Yes, sir. Any other questions? Hearing none, without objection, it's referred to the Public Safety Committee, which meets on Tuesday, November the 26th at 5 p.m.
The next item is an ordinance for first reading, rezoning portions of the properties addressed as 8083 Rivers Avenue, portions of Charleston County TMS numbers 484, parcel 82 and 529, from B2 General Business to B3 Commercial Recreation and Highway-oriented uses, and concurrently amending the Comprehensive Plan's future land use map for those same parcels, changing from major business retail to highway-oriented use in Council District 7.
Okay, we have a proposed rezoning at 8083 Rivers Avenue. The existing zoning is B2 General Business, and the proposal is for B3 Commercial Recreation, and this is in Council District 7. There you have an aerial version of the property. You can see that only a portion of the property is proposed to be rezoned, and that's designated in the hatched area there on the map. And then there's a zoomed out aerial of the area along Rivers Avenue. Proposed rezoning request is to rezone property from B2 General Business, shown there in the red, to B3 Commercial Recreation and Highway-oriented uses. And this would require a map amendment to the comprehensive plan, changing the designation from retail to highway-oriented use. And there's a proposed layout of the property that they're seeking to rezone. Subject properties are located along and comprised of a portion of a private right-of-way that parallels Rivers Avenue just south of the Green Ridge intersection. The applicant has requested that the properties be rezoned from B2 to B3, which would expand the allowable uses to include dog kennels, nightclubs, and other recreational facilities, as well as used vehicle sales, auto repair, and car washes. The requested rezoning area would have to be accessed through an access easement across the private road that it would be subdivided from. The properties are surrounded by B2 and R2 uses and zoning, and the comprehensive plan would need an amendment to support the rezoning. Based on the lack of support from the comprehensive plan and the lack of close proximity with other B3 zoned parcels, staff has recommended denial, and the Planning Commission's also recommending denial.
Any questions by council?
Mayor Sami
Yes, ma'am.
and Council, I'd like to find out, since the properties are in such close proximity to District 3 and District 2, are we allowed to include them in the notification of this rezoning request?
Thank you, ma'am. We'll take that note.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
Megan,
Yes.
are there two parcels here or one?
It's a portion of 2 parcels, and there's actually a third that was presented to the Planning Commission last night.
So this is a package that's sequenced here?
They just mistakenly forgot the third parcel until they figured out the layout that they're proposing. So
Okay.
they're trying to assemble portions of that property, yes, sir.
Any other questions? Hearing none, without objection, it's referred to the Public Safety Committee, which meets at 5 p.m., November the 26th.
The next item on the agenda is the first reading of an ordinance adopting a bill to be entitled an annexation ordinance of the City of North Charleston annexing an area known as 53-N 4911 Popperdam Creek Drive in Charleston County, identified as TMS number 40407, parcel 163, in Council District 1.
Move for approval.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Jerome?
Aye.
Ms. Jamison?
Aye.
Mr. Brinson? Mr. Brown? Mr. Brown?
He's used to going last.
Mr. Skipper? Mr. King? Mr. Hart? Ms. Williams? And Mayor Summy?
Aye. Messed you up, didn't he? That's right.
Well, I didn't have a sticky in my book, so. We have one speaker tonight, Mr. William Hamilton.
William, you know our rules and regulations. Please give us your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes.
My name is William Hamilton. I am the Executive Director of Best Friends of Low Country Transit, and I live at 32 Soul Street in Mount Pleasant. I'm here tonight to speak with you in support of the community's resistance to building a Sphinx gas station on 3 acres of irreplaceable property at the single greatest opportunity this city has to build a truly great new neighborhood in its future, which of course is the area around the old Navy Hospital, McMillan Avenue, and Rivers Avenue. The Sphinx Company wants to build a 1-story, 3-acre suburban-style gas station. This is an absolutely insane and inappropriate use of something that's so precious to this community. I've written a detailed 3-page proposal of the sort of thing that could be done on that property, which would make them more money, do a lot more for the city, provide some of the housing that's needed, provide opportunities for retail that's needed, and integrate fully with our new rapid transit system. We simply don't need to waste something this irreplaceable on such an ordinary and pedestrian use. And I think the people in this room all know this, and I think we're probably all in agreement on it. And frankly, the memo I wrote could have been written, and probably already has been written, by your planning department and 4 or 5 other consultants. But I thought I'd weigh in to give the Sphinx people something to think about. I was thinking about that area because it factors into my personal history, as I'm sure it does most of y'all's. I was thinking about what it was like 50 years ago, this time at Christmas at Pine Haven, and how happy people were. And that was a world built around the Navy Yard. It was built around the automobile. It was built on people generally having a higher standard of living in this area than they have now. We have to adapt and we have to change, but we can still build something great around the old Navy Hospital in that intersection. We can build a multi-story building that has retail, that has places for people to live, that accommodates the fact that 20 years from now, nobody's going to be buying gasoline at that intersection. They're going to be checking out electric cars. They're going to be riding transit. It's going to be a radically different world. We don't need to build a dinosaur there now. And I thank the city for its efforts to make our transit system work over the years. We are getting closer. I want you to know that today we went to the highway department up at Gaslight Square and informed them that we would lay down in bulldozers to force them to build the transit system before they build the new 526. The people of Indianapolis voted to build their transit system the same day the people of North Charleston did 3 years ago in November. Their transit system began running 2.5 months ago. There's no excuse for ours taking this long. The people of North Charleston deserve a transit system that works. They deserve communities around them that work. I believe the men and women in this room want that too. We are ready to stand with you to make it happen, and we are ready to stand in the way of massive road projects that benefit the suburbs until the city of North Charleston gets the transit system it's paying for and deserves. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anything else to come before the body? Yes, sir. Congratulations. That's a long, tedious labor, and we congratulate you. It's very few people hit to the eagle, so God bless you, man.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Mayor and Council, on Saturday, I had the opportunity to, along with Ms. Jerome, to represent North Charleston at the appreciation program at Charleston Southern University. And it was certainly an honor for us to be there. Some of our first responders came, our police department came, so we were greeted with great hospitality. The one thing that, and I did get to toss the coin for the meet between Charleston Southern University and Hampton University. The one thing that came out of that, Mayor, is that we wanted to do, the director of the athletic department director is wanting to do a collaborative effort between the city of North Charleston, Charleston Southern University, and the Citadel. And they want to have the best basketball game at our new facility as soon as possible. And I asked him to send a note to to our athletic director, and he said he would. He did copy me on the note, and I'm looking forward to this coming to fruition. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? One of the things I learned about veterans, they could put more mini bottles in their pocket than most people that I had ever met, and hustled them off of the stewardesses or whatever you call those people on the airplane. They had it made. They had a great time, and watching them and being with them brought back memories of our own families, and it was just a wonderful experience. We had a great time with that, Bob. It's a shame that era of most of the soldiers are gone now, and but we still, we took them so they would have a great time, and we came back with wonderful memories as well. So, thank you for sharing him with us. For
Mr.
that.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Just quickly, by the way, I was on that trip to New Orleans, Bob, and I don't remember anybody fooling with any mini bottles, especially your dad.
That was going to see.
Oh, okay, well, that's different. We, New Orleans doesn't allow those kinds of things. Mr. Mayor, late this afternoon, I attended the Chamber's award ceremony, during which Dr. Jerry Hunter, a distinguished North Charleston citizen, was given a Lifetime Leadership Award. And, we think of Dr. Hunter as being the president of Charleston Southern. What was so vivid and in focus tonight is that for 34 years, he really did lead that school into new frontiers. Just done a great job for that school, a great job for this region, and a great job for our city. And it was really pleasing for Peggy and me to see the video presentation, which focused on our mayor's commentary about Dr. Hunter. Good job, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you,
And
my
good
friend.
job, Dr. Hunter.
It was well deserved, well deserved. Anything else?
Mayor Summey,
Yes,
I'd
ma'am.
just like to say to the young man, keep on going out. Very proud of you. Mayor Summey didn't have a chance to finish, but we are so proud of you. And Daddy, keep us informed. Let us know about the young man. Congratulations again, young man.
Is Miss America here tonight? Yes, she is. I thought I saw Miss America back there. Welcome, Miss America. Glad to have you with the meeting with us. Anything else to come before the body? Hearing nothing, the meeting's adjourned.